Beating that perfectionism and actually just sitting down and doing the work is like a big obstacle that I think a lot of people deal with, but I obviously I don't escape that by working for myself, for sure.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Killer Influence. That clip was from our guest today, Delaney Royer. She is one of a kind. For those of you that are new listeners, I'm Alexa Ray, and this is my trusty sidekick, Mr. Will Barton.
I'm glad to be back in the studio and very excited for everyone to hear Delaney's story. This Nashville native is a multi-talented artist that utilizes her drawing, photography, graphic design, and motion graphic skills to create the most amazing artwork. Delaney shares with us about her rebellious upbringing, from dropping out of college all the way to becoming a successful entrepreneur. We also chat with her about her passion for saving the planet and how she found her soulmate at a young age, country music artist Ernest.
This episode is the perfect dose of realness for all you creatives out there. Get ready to welcome Delaney Royer to this episode of Killer Influence. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start from the beginning. Can you tell our listeners where you're from?
I'm actually born in Nashville, so
Wow, unicorn.
just started here. My parents moved here the year I was born from Los Angeles.
I actually saw on your bio that you are the product of two artistic parents. So what did they do?
My dad is a musician, a songwriter. He was in a band in the 70s called Bread, if you've heard of it.
Wow.
And my mom is an acrylic painter.
That's incredible.
So,
and so growing up, I guess you would have listened to a hell of a lot of music and
absolutely
just observed your mum's amazing artwork.
Yeah, they really, really focus on the arts in my family, especially in school. They didn't even care about what I got in science, for example. They cared about what my grade was in photography. So it's always been just a primary focus. And obviously my mom, she was always around supplies and crafts and everything. So she would give me paint to play with. And she said from a very early age, I showed a lot of interest in it, so I think they just fueled those interests. And my dad started me on piano when I was like 4 years old, and I competitively played piano for like 12 years, so it really has been every part of my life. 12 is like when I started photography. I just had a birthday one year, and my dad got me a little camera from a camera store, and I just took it to my friends and landscapes and any plant I could possibly find, and that just led to a nicer camera, and then I just started running with it. I don't know. I just became a huge interest, and all of my focus went into the visual arts, which was something completely new to me. But man, I have not thought about my 12-year-old self in so long. It's hard to answer.
No, we're happy to go through this journey with you.
No, literally.
So you were going to be Lady Gaga, but you're not.
Not at all. It was just like classical piano and
Oh, wow.
Bach and Beethoven and
Oh, wow.
Rachmaninoff. That was my childhood.
That's amazing.
So how did your parents feel when you decided that college wasn't for you?
They actually never pushed it. I went to a college preparatory school, an all-girls school. I was there for 8 years, and that school really, honestly, jammed it down my throat. Like, you have to go to college if you want to be successful. And I knew in high school I wanted to be an artist. I didn't know what medium at the time, but I would tell them, I want to do art, let me focus on art. And they were like, no, you need a GPA, blah, blah. So I really spent a lot of time striving for the college thing, getting my extra credit, getting all of my activities for the resume, blah, blah. And then when I got there, it was like, holy shit, this is not for me, So, but my parents were like, why do you want to do this? What's the big deal? You can do whatever you want. My brother, for example, dropped out of high school when he was 16. My mom dropped out of high school when she was a sophomore or junior. My dad never completed college. So it's like, it really wasn't an emphasis as much as what are you creating? That was more so what they focused on.
Right, and they're extremely successful, so.
Exactly. And so I guess when you started doing it casually with photography and then moving into, motion graphics or graphic design, how did that shift from photography into your graphic design?
In middle school, I really took only nature photos. We had a farm at the time, so I had so many animals to photograph, over 80 acres, and
wow.
I would really just run around the property and shoot and bring it to my teacher's attention, and any projects where I could include or incorporate photography, I would, to get their recognition. And that did lead me into getting into the photography class in high school. And then I got really close with the photography teacher, and I owe a lot of what I've learned to him. But in terms of graphic design, I am completely self-taught. Like, I didn't take any classes.
Kidding.
Animation, completely self-taught. I just
awesome.
YouTubed any questions I had. Like, I learn on the job. But I think that's how I work. And I think, honestly, that kind of links me back to piano. Is I was sitting in a chair for so many hours focusing on one thing and teaching myself a song that I just did that with other programs and mediums and whatever. But
Yeah, it essentially taught you how to study.
yeah, it really, I owe so much to what.
You're like disciplined to like,
Oh, yes,
with,
total.
I guess with your style now, like there's obviously a unique style to what you're doing, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
Like, we both incredibly love it, and you know, everyone loves it, I guess.
Well, I don't know about that. but-
Everyone.
Yeah, every single person to exist loves it.
Yeah, when did that start? Like, were you just always one of those kids that was like, this is me, like it or not? Like, it's always been colors. It's
Oh my
always
God, yes.
been...
Been like, I do art, this is me. My, what is it, high school title was the biggest art advocate. Like,
Wow.
I've always just been gung-ho. Yeah, because I was complaining that I couldn't take more than one art class. Mm-hmm. So I was always in the office being like, this is why I need to do this, and I need to take drawing instead of just photography. And they're like, no, you need to do PE.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, like do you think that if you had another chance, would you go to a different, like an art school or something like that? Or
I definitely thought about that while I was there. It was super hard for me to be in that school. I honestly stayed just for the teachers.
Right.
Because they have amazing teachers there, and especially my photography teacher, and they had an amazing dark room. So there were great aspects artistically, but I did think about USN, I did think about Nashville Arts, but I was just so in it. I'd done entire middle school, so I just stuck through it, and I knew it was a really good school. And honestly, I think I didn't have to go to college because the education at my high school was so good. And they really taught me how to write an email. They taught me about no plagiarism. You know, they really taught me core things that I still use today.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, because typically don't they cut the art funds when they're cutting funds in schools? So she
Oh,
was lucky
for
enough
sure.
to, embrace that. And maybe as you continue to grow in your career, that could be something that you go back and give back to, or maybe even be an adjunct there or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually did get to go back and speak to the graphic design class, and that was like a huge moment for me, like a full circle moment to get to go back on campus as like an example.
Instagram, I feel like, is such a huge
my
part
gosh.
of artist community now, where you probably didn't have that, like, obviously 10 years ago.
No, I posted on Facebook, but that would be like 10 likes.
Yeah, but then I guess as well, a lot of kids probably at school are like seeing other people's Instagram profiles and going, I want to be like that. I want to like do art like that, or promote myself through Instagram and make it my own little business like that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know Instagram was a thing till I was a senior in high school. So,
how does that change the way that you work now?
oh my gosh, honestly, most of my jobs, if not through word of mouth, are completely on Instagram, because it's just like, oh, here's my portfolio.
Yeah.
And you can always, and I think with video especially, it like really helps.
Right. I mean, that's how I found you, and I swear I found you like 2 or 3 years ago. Just
Really?
from-
That's cool.
Yeah, on Instagram, and I was just like, this is crazy. I can't even draw a stick figure. So
Yeah.
it's like, to see the stuff that you're creating, and I've been a fan of some of the artists that you worked for, and it just made me go from like, okay, I love this artist, but who's creating that? Like, so
That's
yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
bet it's changed a lot in 3 years, I feel like.
Yeah.
So what's like the first project that you ever worked on, or you felt sort of accomplished in that sense that you could like see a vision for the artistic stuff that you could, take it on to the next level?
It is so hard to decide because there's so many different types of things that I do, but I guess seeing like my first album cover was really cool. I think it was Chris Lane. I don't even know at this point, but it was just so cool to see it on iTunes, you know what I mean? And that was kind of a moment, and at that point in my life, that was my goal. That was like, I want to just do album art. And then once I achieved that, I was like, okay, what else can I do? You know, and that kind of branched out into motion graphics somehow, just because with Instagram, with photography, honestly, like how I started with photography only on Instagram, and then I added graphic design to it. And then as people kind of catch up and start doing that, I'm always like, okay, what can I do next? What can I do next? And that's how I just got into motion graphics with photography, and then it led to drawing animation, and and now I'm doing animated videos. So I guess at this point, like looking back on everything I've done, the most accomplished are animated videos. Like I really feel proud about a 3-minute animated video, because that takes weeks of my life, and it kind of relies on my music background to have to draw to beats of music. And so it's like I get to use everything I've learned in one project, and it's really just, it's always new and exciting.
What about like the Dan and Shay neon video, for example? How long did that take you? It looks like you'd have to like sculpt out each little thing.
Well, just to paint the picture for anyone who doesn't know, that is frame by frame animation. There are 24 frames per second. So
wow.
I would have to draw something 24 times for 1 second over the course of 3 minutes. So you do the math.
Wow. That's
But it really took me a couple weeks of like, you wake up, get coffee, I'm working until like it's dark, But it's so rewarding that I have the energy to do it. And the song's good. The song has to be good. Honestly, that is like, if the song isn't good, I can't listen to it a million times in 3 weeks. So
how did, say, Dan and Shay or some of your early clients like get in touch with you, or how did you get in touch with them? And
it definitely didn't start out of the gate with musicians. I really focused on practicing photography and everything with my close friends, and we would just have photo shoots, and I used those photos to post to Instagram, and that eventually led to people reaching out to me. Hey, do you do musician work? Can you do this for my promo? Can you do this for my album cover? And so I just started my portfolio specifically for musician work from that, but it really did like start with my close friends and group around me, and honestly my now husband who is a musician. So
yeah, and even with yourself, because I saw that you would take like gorgeous pictures of yourself, and
Thank you. I hated the idea of modeling at first, but I can't have a model available every day, so I was like, okay, I'll get in a photo.
Yes, no, work it.
Practice.
And so was that a lot of free work to start with? Or
oh my gosh, yes. So much free work involved to get to that skill level to where you can really charge and feel like it's worth the quality and everything.
So what did you do while you were doing free work on the side?
I did retail work. I honestly applied to Free People, didn't get a job.
Wow.
So I did part-time jobs on the side, any little gigs I could get. And then honestly, I got a part-time job with Tribe Kelly, which is a clothing company here in town. And I was their photographer for the first year and a half of them starting out, and like way before they had storefronts and everything. So I did that, and then I did musician stuff on the side. But that was a really fun experience.
What made you charge for the first project? Where did you see like, now I've made a good mark, I can start charging people for what I'm doing?
Well, if anyone wanted to use my work for their promo or covers specifically, obviously I know that has value. That's going to be used in so many various ways, so I kind of started there. But my prices obviously were low then compared to now, which was like 5 years ago. So It does take a long time to gradually increase. And I've honestly had DelaneysArtwork.com since I was 15 years old.
So we've been talking a lot about like the success that you've been blessed with. Have you ever felt like failures in your journey of just like entrepreneurship? And what does that look like? Like what would a bad day for Delaney look like?
Not every client is easy, like you really are faced with extreme challenges. And I think school actually would have helped that, like knowing how to handle business side more, because like being quote unquote entrepreneur or whatever, like I'm one person, I'm doing everything, you know, the creative and the left brain stuff. So
Right. And you're just like, let me create.
yeah, I wish I could just create all day. But so it's like the other side of that is where I do experience failure of like not holding boundaries where I should, letting people walk over me and ask for more than they pay, you know, stuff like that where it's, I mean, technically bad business where you're just like, okay, yeah, I'll do that for free. Like that, I've had real wake up calls to the point I'm like, nope, contracts, like, no, this is what we agreed, this is blah, blah. So I think that is a lot of my learning curve more so than the creative side because, I mean, but obviously I've had creative blocks and like dry spells of just like I can't think of anything. And I think failure is like, oh, I didn't make something today or like, oh, I really think I just really try to make something every day, even if it's not good.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially focusing on like not for Instagram. I think also another moment of failure for me was kind of getting swept up into Instagram a little bit too much of like, oh, well, people only like this, so I'm only going to make this. And that's just not me. Especially like I've kind of always pushed the envelope a little bit, like tried to make people think, kind of piss people off a little bit sometimes. And I kind of diluted that a little bit to please people. And now I'm kind of realizing like, no, that's not going to help anyone.
Right. You're just trying to stay relevant as opposed to just like expressing your creativity wherever, whenever.
Yeah. And I think I've found myself from that, but I've definitely had moments of that where I get lost in like, oh, let me only shoot fashion blogs. You know what I mean? Instead of like, here's like a thought-provoking piece or something.
The media has a weird way of telling us like what we're supposed to be doing, so I totally understand that. Like,
and people are like, consistency is key, you need to post all the time or you're and it's like I can't physically, mentally, emotionally create nonstop and it be good.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can. I think you have to have shitty work.
Yeah.
And especially when you're learning things like new programs, Procreate, After Effects, which I have done, like I just need to know this is not going to be good, and I do have a perfectionist side, so beating that perfectionism and actually just sitting down and doing the work is like a big obstacle that I think a lot of people deal with, but I obviously like I don't escape that by working for myself, for sure.
I guess, yeah, if you kind of think about it too much, and I have this with my projects as well, like if you think about it too much, then eventually it just doesn't get done.
Oh, for sure.
And so you don't actually do anything.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
you just like are like,
sits there.
how should I do this? When should I? It's like, no, just do it now. Pick up the pencil and do it now.
Yeah.
Or watch the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Where do you find your best inspiration for these types of projects?
Silence.
Yeah.
I definitely have a journal where I have all my ideas, and I really try to make space in my brain and just sit. And if an idea comes to me, I write it down. And I really think silence is something I'm not around as much as I should be because of podcasts and music and dogs and home and parents and, you know, just life. But that's why I escape to the islands a lot with my dad most of the time. But I just honestly find so much inspiration in the Virgin Islands specifically because I can clear my head so much that I can get through to myself, I feel like.
I love that.
I think like when you were taking photos like in the farm and stuff like that, or like say you're in the British Virgin Islands and like seeing the nature, it makes you appreciate it a lot more.
I've been a nature lover my entire life. I've loved animals my entire life. If I wasn't an artist, I would be a zoologist, or I would work as a zookeeper, or just anything with animals, nature. Absolutely, I could totally be a park ranger. You know what I mean?
So then, yeah, like the Big Earth stuff, I know you've posted about that quite a bit recently. Can you explain a little bit more about, you know, the active, you know, participation you want in that sort of side of things?
Yeah, I really want to inspire people to just pay attention to what they're using, what they're consuming. Honestly, like a couple years ago, I wasn't even doing this. Like I would go to the grocery store, buy plastic, whatever. At this point, I'm like, I want strawberries, but it's in a plastic box, so I can't buy strawberries, you know, because it's like, if you buy it, they're going to keep making it. So I start with like the water bottle, and I don't use water bottles, and I bring my coffee cup and whatever. I buy the water filter for my house. There, you know, I'm trying as much as you can. There's even an awesome company called Blue Land that has just started, and their whole motto is refill is the new recycle. And I think that's kind of what I want to just promote. Like, recycling is not the answer. I just want people to be conscious, because I think that's the issue, is people just have no idea how much is being used. Single use is just horrifying to me, like anything in a gas station, basically. You know what I mean? Like, but I really think we're only on this earth for such a short amount of time. Make as much of a positive impact as you possibly can. And especially, I'm so passionate about the earth stemming from childhood that I just feel like this is one thing I can share.
So with your artwork, is there like, you know, steps you're taking to maybe make people more aware through your artwork?
Yeah, like, I really haven't gotten into it as much as I'm planning on getting into it, but I like doing little animations. For one example I did a mom and a baby polar bear on ice, and the ice is melting.
Saw that. That was awesome.
Thank you. So just like trying to bring
awareness,
the visual to people to really see what is actually happening, you know? And I can't go shoot with my video camera a polar bear with ice melting, but I can draw it. So it's like, okay, I'll do that. And just the other day, I did a gift guide that I drew little things for all these companies that I really believe in that are actually making an impact on the earth in a positive way. And so I just tried to like make little cartoons to inspire people. Hey, these are some gift ideas that you can do for your family or whatever, just to like sustainable ideas. And then anything I post on my story is always just like, here's my cup again. You know what I mean?
I kind of wanted to ask, like, before, and this is going back, but like, you know, like talking about graphic designers, and they want to get to a stage where you're at, where you've sort of started your own business and that's all you do now is what you're doing, and that's amazing. Like, a lot of people wish to be in that position.
It's a lot of work.
I can imagine it'd be really hard work, but like, do you have mentors? Do you have people you can trust and talk to, like, about your work to like get an honest opinion? Or like, I mean, obviously your husband as well, and we can sort of go into your husband.
Yeah, I definitely consider my husband my like sounding board, you know, like he really affirms, like I really just need him to okay everything, you know, not all the time because you gotta stand your own ground, but I like to just throw some examples or ideas by him, and he does give me the feedback, because otherwise I'm talking to a wall or my dogs, you know, as a one person business. But in terms of mentors, like I don't really have that. I have people I look up to, but not that I'm in contact with, and I do have some friends in the industry who are doing creative work as well, just like, hey, this price, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, does this sound right? But
I guess your parents have been quite successful with their stuff, so
I think they're my mentors for sure. Yeah. Especially, my mom and dad. I think a lot of my style and color comes from my mom, just instinctively, and then my dad really helps me with the business side and like bios, you know.
So let's talk about your husband a little bit and sort of how you guys met. I think.
Oh yeah,
it's getting dirty.
Oh man, how we met is hilarious. I met him at my house.
Really?
That's crazy.
He was friends with my younger brother.
So you met Ernest at your house. He was friends with your brother.
Yes, I met him when he was 20 and I was turning 18. I met him when I was 17, and I was in another relationship at the time, and he was too, and
couldn't have been too serious. You're 17, you know.
I know, literally every relationship I've ever had is over 2.5 years long, like a psycho.
That's me too. I'm like,
dude, commitment.
Yes, I don't know if I have it written on my forehead, but like wifey right here.
I mean, I got married at 22, so I feel you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I met him, and he hung out with my brother, and they made music together, and He wrote with my dad, he wrote with my brother, like Ernest did. And I mean, to be honest, he literally up front was like, I met him and he's like, oh, I'm going to marry you one day. Like he literally, I'm no joke, said that, told my dad he was going to marry me one day. And I was like, who's this fucking guy? Sorry. But like, who does he think he is? I have my own life choices.
This is before you're dating.
Oh, this is way before I'm dating. And then I just fight my feelings for a year and a half, and then we've been together ever since. 7 years later.
And what was he doing at that point? So he was just creating with your...
Yeah, he was definitely writing, singing. Honestly, he did this song then that he like performed at Mason shows last month. So it's funny to see how...
And that's Mason Ramsey.
Mason Ramsey, love him. Can only say good things about Mason.
They seem like they have the best relationship, them two, Ernest and Mason.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, Mason is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, such a great kid, person. Can't wait to see what happens.
I'm so happy for him and all of his success.
I know, he deserves it all.
Do you think he's going to be another Justin Bieber?
I hope so. If he misses all of the horrible stuff. Yeah. But he's really talented. It's amazing. And just, like, such a good person. An old soul country kid. So, like, example, if Ernest was changing shirts in front of me, he's like, you're changing in front of a lady? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just love his manners.
Now, what is life like after, you've gained your own success? Obviously, Ernest is blowing up. Like, how has life changed for you guys? And how can you pinpoint a date, like a year ago, like this is what changed? Or do you feel like it was a slow progression?
It has been a very slow progression, for sure. I totally understand what people mean. There's no such thing as overnight success whatsoever. Everything you do builds on top of the next thing. So it has just been like a constant process of seriously putting in work every single day, especially on Ernest's part. Like he's not only doing the artist thing, he's also songwriting. So it's like any downtime that he has from tour or whatever, he's writing for other artists, if not himself. So it's like 2 jobs. And I don't mind that because I need to work by myself at the house and have the house to myself and like to be in that creative space. So I guess so much happens every single year. It's honestly insane. But I think the biggest thing lately is he's been going on tour, which is something that's new. He did go on a tour in February for 2 months, and I got a taste of what that life was like. And I definitely can be alone at the house with 3 dogs. Like, I'm fine. I can cook myself dinner. I don't need him there. I obviously want him there, but this tour life is definitely new for us, and I think he's just getting the hang of exhaustion and battling, not wearing himself too thin, And so I think we're both dealing with balance.
Do you think that you are a mentor for him as well, like through artistic means, say?
I like to think so.
Yeah, of course.
Power couple.
Well, I do love that some of the songs are about our life. I get to feel a piece of that. I love that he lets me shoot his album art. I would probably kill him if he didn't.
Yeah. Right, I would too. But I'm so glad that it probably makes you guys stronger because you guys are both doing your own thing, but then you guys can like come together and help each other. I think those are like the strongest relationships where you complement each other. And you can like come together in certain things. It's really great that you are busy and you have your own thing going on, or you'd go crazy.
Oh, for sure. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I would do, but if I didn't have just a constant goal, I'm really glad I'm goal oriented, because for anyone who just like wants to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever, like this would be a really hard career to be in.
They're just like so self-reliant, and I'm sure he loves when he comes home to a home-cooked meal, but he's so used to being on the road and doing his own thing. He's like,
yeah, I kind of just remind him, I'm like, you need to relax.
Yes.
Enjoy your life. The best way I help him is by stealing him and taking him to the islands and forcing him to be on a beach for like 10 days to totally gather his strength for when he goes back out again.
Let's get back to you a little bit with like
Ernest all day.
Awesome. I love talking about it, but do you like experience a creative block with the stuff that you're doing? Is there times where you've got so many creative people in your family, but I'm sure there's times where you might feel like you can't do.
You're just not inspired.
Yeah. About a year ago, I was like in the thick of it. And I feel like in the last few months, I've finally knock on wood, out of it for a second.
What do you think happened with that? Was it just like all the changes that were happening? And
it was a lot. Getting married, moving houses. You know, it's a lot of change going on. Ernest had stuff going on with his work, you know, so it was kind of a distracting time where we were really just focusing on, we need furniture in the house. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
real life, day-to-day stuff.
So then work kind of has to be pushed away. And because you are your own boss, you can be like, I'll work on that later. But
yeah, and so it was, I feel like we're finally at a place where his work is like, oh, he has a planned schedule for literally till September. You know, so it's like, oh, well, I can really plan out my shit. Honestly, like, one of the things that really lifted a block for me is Instagram taking away likes.
Really?
Really?
It really...
See, I don't see
oh my gosh. It hasn't changed your account yet?
No, it has.
Okay.
But I don't see it, like, helping me or hurting me. But I would love to hear from your perspective, like, why that changed your life.
It's like a Christmas gift from the universe.
Really?
Let's explain what happened to Instagram.
Okay, so I've had Instagram since like 2013, since I was in high school, and I remember like not caring about it at all. It was just a personal account. Here's what I ate, you know. Whatever.
You added your border.
Yeah, just whatever. And then I changed it to an art account, and it wasn't even my name at the time. Like, this is so long ago. And it was like, because I know, oh, this is only going to get 200 likes or whatever. But it's like, this means something to me, so I'm going to do it. And I just feel like having that hidden, like, I don't even know how many likes my posts get anymore. And I don't want to look. You have to, like,
actually go into it.
Yeah, actually go into it and figure it out. And it's just so freeing to not have a number attached to something I thought of alone in a room, you know, and then I don't have to take it personally when it doesn't do well.
Yeah,
right.
It's like when you were talking about earlier how you kind of saw the trend in your Instagram and you thought, you know, that's probably what I should be doing is like doing that.
Which is like not what an artist should be doing. You should definitely be doing things people don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. She might have not have posted like the Earth Day gift guide.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Because she's like, people want to see my motion graphics. They don't want to see my Earth Day stuff. But no, I love it.
That was literally I was like, I would have never posted this. And I hope in 2020 to start posting more of my personality instead of like, here's a pretty photo with a sun or a rainbow or like whatever.
So going back to, what does 2020 look like for you?
I'm excited about digging into video a little bit more. When I was in high school, I was convinced I was going to be a director, which is hilarious because my personality is not for that.
Film?
Yeah,
like
literally.
Film director?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like that's what I wanted to do. I just want to branch out a little bit and do a few larger scale things, doing the coloring book. Absolutely. I want people to use my art in a more useful way. Like, I've done the calendars for 3 years at this point, and that's as far as I've gone. But with coloring books, I feel like since that's my form of meditation, it might be for someone else and could help other people. Just like, here's a shit ton of photos to color. Yeah, and like all be nature focused and or Nashville focused. I haven't really decided. I want to play with stickers a little bit more because I think they're fun.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to figure out eco-friendly ink and printing and all that stuff. So, I mean, there are a lot of ideas bouncing around in my head, but I just really am trying to focus every day on getting stronger at drawing.
Yeah, and I mean, I did check out your store that you have on Society 6. And you do
Thanks.
have like,
wow, sneaky. I haven't even posted about that.
No, you have a lot of great things like for Christmas gifts for people. Like, you guys need to check this out. Like, you know, there's totes that you can buy. There's stickers.
I've gotten a shower curtain from them, and tapestries are fun. I haven't promoted that yet, but I'm excited to see if people like that because it's really so rewarding to see my work off of a phone screen because it should be so much bigger. Like, if I could put my work in a gallery, it would be the size of a wall. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have so much detail and tiny little things involved that people miss a lot. So if I could just blast it, then you can see everything.
That's so cool. How long did it take to build that unique style that you have?
I really have had a unique style since high school. When I was in high school, I really, like, the phrase sensory overload was how I felt my style was. Just, like, so much thrown at you, so many colors. And now movement, I'm like, how much more am I asking you to look at? But
have you been to Japan?
No, but I love Asian art so much. I love Asian food. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Honestly, every birthday in my life has been Asian food. But Asian art, like, honestly, that big red sun is like such, like, I've just thrown giant circle suns in so much of my art. Not as much anymore, but like when I was starting out with graphics.
So we do have a question that we ask every one of our guests, and that is, what is your morning routine?
It is very repetitive.
I love that.
I get up, go get coffee with Ernest.
Where at?
If he's in town, at Portland Brew.
Okay.
I play fetch with all 3 of my dogs because they are high energy and need to be worn out, or I can't get anything done all day. And then Ernest leaves at around 9 or 10, and I just sit down and force myself to get started working, drawing, finishing any projects, emails, whatever I need to do that day. I'm working from when Ernest leaves till when he gets home at like 7:30 p.m.
Talking about I think a lot of people would be jealous about it, and I'm personally jealous about the discipline you would have had when you were a pianist, and like say you were like doing a piece of artwork, you'd be like, I have to get this done. Like, I have to do this. I can't switch between different projects.
Don't think that I don't come by struggle. Like, I still have to be like, no, you sit in the chair and you get this done and do not eat lunch until you've at least gotten to this point. You know, like if I'm working on a video, I'm like, please, Jesus, get to 10 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I can take a break. And then 20 more seconds. You know, I have to.
And a part of it's like the clients that you have too. You don't want to let them down because.
Oh, never.
Right.
Even if they're difficult.
Right. For sure.
But some, like, it is nice because some clients are literal dream clients, you know?
Yeah.
But my dogs do help the creative process because they force me every, like, 2 or 3 hours. They're like, okay, it's time for fetch. Like, let's get outside. And then I break away from screens or whatever I'm working on, and then I'm outside. I don't listen to anything but the dogs and birds or whatever. And I'm just out there throwing the ball for 15 minutes. And that happens several times a day. So that is like another form of meditation, I guess.
But you never get stir crazy from being in the house?
I'm one of those weird people. I can literally be home a week and not.
What?
I'm not kidding. I'm an introvert to the extreme.
Yeah. I guess if you're from Nashville, you kind of have like a grounding.
That's
maybe
true.
that is a difference.
We aren't from here.
I'm from here, so
we're like, where's everybody at?
That isn't. Meanwhile, it's like everyone I know lives in other states. Like everyone moved. All my close friends moved to DC, New York, LA, and it's like I'm literally, well, other than my best friend who did move back after 5 years at school, I'm like the only person who stayed. And it's funny because it's like I swore I would leave.
So if someone wants to hire you for your work, what should they do? Are you accepting any clients? Are you picky choosy, or
like hit me up on my website, you know, like send me an email.
Cool.
Just hit me up on my email.
Nice.
Where can our listeners find you?
Instagram at Delaney Royer or DelaneyRoyer.com. Those are my 2 mains. I don't really tweet. Mostly Instagram.
And so where can our listeners find more about your awesome hubby?
At Ernest on Instagram or on Spotify under Ernest, and his new project is Locals Only.
And it's so good.
Woo! So fun, and I can't wait for his new project to come out.
Okay.
It'll be called Tropical Cowboy.
Well, we took up a lot of your time, and we appreciate you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome, and
So fun.
we hope for the best for your future. And
yeah, we're going to keep watching you, and our listeners need to definitely check out your calendar that you just released for 2020. Thank you so much for bringing us one.
Course.
I was going to buy one, but
Brighten
now I
up
have
your
one.
space.
Yes, definitely going to brighten up our space. And yeah, we're just super excited to watch you and Ernest and just watch you guys take over the world. So.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode of Killer Influence, please leave any questions or reviews on iTunes and follow us on Twitter at Podcast Killer or at Killer Influence Podcast on Instagram. Until next time.